whole life insurance, when you get a gain last year, it becomes your guaranteed minimum this year, meaning you can only go up. You can never fall due to some market downturn. And it's backed by the insurer's reserves and by profitable premium income. In fact, a UGA journal notes that this makes whole life insurance a reliable supplemental income source, which outperforms a lot of other volatile assets, including the stock market, including real estate, and more. I've seen clients just totally marvel at their boring old whole life cash value, which keeps climbing straight through market crashes, when their stock market accounts that they also have are tanking. But here's where the problem really gets deeper. People misunderstand averages here too. When they hear the words, hey, whole life insurance, it only averages 4 to 6%. They think, oh, wow, that's underwhelming compared to the stock market's 10% or whatever Dave Ramsey's saying that it's doing these days. But they miss the volatility factor. Again, even if the yield of a whole life policy went down to 4%, that same policy still delivers $41,700, the one I mentioned earlier. And that would require a 7% stock market return just to match it. Yet, there is no guarantee that the stock market will give you 7%, 10%, certainly not 10%, not even 7%. The only thing that's absolutely guaranteed in the stock market is negative 100%. That's the only thing that they can absolutely say would be the worst case scenario. So if any financial advisor is willing to sign his or her name next to a prospectus or a proposal showing what your net worth will do when you put your money in their stock recommendations, please make sure that they sign their name next to their projections for you. And if they're willing to do that, show that to your attorney, because I'm guessing that financial advisor is about to be out of a job. In other words, there's no way they can guarantee that your financial plan they're showing you will actually work. But with a whole life policy, my name is next to every guaranteed number that's on the contract of the insurance company. It's not my guarantee. Who am I, right? I'm just a mere mortal. But it's the 100-year-old plus financial institution that's willing to back their claims, back their guarantees. That makes me feel pretty good as a financial advisor making those sets of recommendations. Again, the market offers no guarantee. Dalbar does an annual study, and in 2024, the study showed the average investor nets just 4.1%. 4.1% in the stock market. This is people who have their money tied to stocks, blend of stocks and bonds, holding it for a 30-year period, and the average investor is netting only 4.1% in the stock market. Why? Because of fees and emotional volatility and market volatility. Okay, so here's the rub. Whole life insurance is a stability weapon for your protection against market madness and against your own personal, moments of madness as well when markets are going crazy. And I'd say whole life insurance can often outpace a market average when you factor in real-world impacts of volatility. Okay, so there's another misunderstanding that we have to really cover here. That misunderstanding can have devastating effects. And that's where the charts I mentioned earlier and the whole life insurance concept really intersects. If you're chasing that aggressive portfolio, if you're listening to this and you're trying to get that great rate of return, and if you're looking for the most aggressive portfolio, if that sounds appealing to you, please realize that if you get a 7.6% average, but you're losing 18% here, 36% there, you're losing that compound growth on moving that money forward. And in fact, a 2020 Journal of Financial Planning study found a lower volatility portfolio reduced the likelihood of outliving your savings by 20%. In other words, you're not going to have that terrifying moment when you open up your bank account for next week's groceries and your entire retirement is gone and you're 87 years old. You never want to outlive your money.